All right, next we're going to welcome up Cane Valley and the Greeneville Green Devils. Successful season a year ago. I want to congratulate them. Another conference championship, another great year. Coach Ballard today has brought with him Quan Harrison and Matthew Allen. We'll start off, I do Austin Peay, right? Matthew Allen will be playing college football, committed to Austin Peay, so there's kind of a starting point. We will let Coach Ballard introduce it, kind of get us started. We'll go from there.
Ready. Cane Ballard. It's my 15th year at Greeneville High School, 6 years as head coach. Defensively, we'll stick with our 4-4 defense. Offensively, we're going to go from the spread back to a tighter set with more tight ends, H-backs. Strength of our football teams, our offensive line. We got four starters back in our offensive line. Really going to rely on those guys. Got some big, strong kids. Probably the strongest football team we've had. So we've got the bodies to play with tight ends and H-backs, and you know, the championships that we won, we were able to play those formations and be successful. And the teams we have to beat in the playoffs, you know, we're going to have to be more physical than they are and not try to outrun them. There's some teams in Knoxville that can run a little bit, and you better be able to line up and run over them if you're going to beat them. So we're going to try that approach this year, and it's been a good summer. Good winter. We've kids have continued to work hard. Like I said, probably the strongest team we've had. We've got 22 kids that squatted over 400 pounds. I know that's a record for us. We got about 25 kids that power clean 225 or more, and that's always a big mark. So we've done a great job there. Got all of our coaches back. Thankful to have all those guys back, and we're just looking for another great season.
I'll start off with questions. Coach, familiar with 4 other schools in this league. You guys are going to be replacing a quarterback. Kind of spoke with you in the spring about that. You've got some guys that come through. Quan is with you today. Took a lot of snaps in the spring. Lincoln Bowman's there as well. Let's talk about that quarterback position going into the main part of the summer, and well, you guys being about 4 weeks away from your first game. Let's talk about that quarterback spot, replacing Zach Mitchell from a year ago.
Well, Zach's hard to replace. You know, those guys, those prototypical type quarterbacks, which he was. You know, they don't come around every year, but Quan took all the snaps for us in the spring and did an awesome job. You know, he may be the most athletic kid I've ever coached, and that's saying a lot, but he's tremendously athletic, very hard to tackle. Did a great job for us in the spring. Lincoln was playing baseball. Lincoln's come back and had a good summer. Done really well in 7-on-7s, and you know, but until the bullets start flying, I don't know who it's going to be, but I like what both of them can do. Both of them are a little bit different in their styles, obviously, but you know, right now we're going about 50-50 with them and trying to make a decision. But you may see them both play all year long. I'm not against playing them both in different situations.
Offensive line first. We'll start with you, Matthew. Coach talked about being a huge part of this offense and a huge part of this team. Making the comment, you're going to line up, and you've got to run over guys. What's some things you guys are going to focus in on this 2014 journey up front? What's some focus points for this Greeneville offensive line?
Well, technique is most of all. Just getting your head placed on, dropping your feet, doing what you got to do. It's hard, keep gritting. I mean, you just got to man up sometimes and do your job. So that's pretty much the whole lookout on my one.
This should be for all 3 of you. you guys don't play in Week 0, you'll play Week 1 against Morristown West, the old around that rivalry. Last year, you guys won that handily at West. You'll host them this year. All the coaches talk about that first game, so just talk a little bit about that first week against Morristown West.
There you go.
It's always a tough game. It's been a big rival game for years. Greeneville, Morristown West. They had beaten us the 2 previous years by 3 points each time, and we went down there last year and got them pretty good. But it's a new season, 2 new teams, and they'll be hungry coming back at us this year, I'm sure. So it's always a great game. It's a great atmosphere. So we're certainly looking forward to that home opener this year.
Be a nice game to play, Beat them last year, pretty good score, 40, something like that. They'll want their revenge. Past the 2 years before they beat us, beat them last year. So we're trying to even have the score 2-2 and try to do it pretty convincingly.
Just like what Quan said, they beat us 2 years before last year, and we're trying to tie them up. I mean, it's going to be a good game. I'm excited about it. Looking forward to it. So.
Kind of along that same line, Coach, there's your other non-conference game, Jackson County, kind of like Morristown West, one of the old non-MAC schools for rivalry. Then your other 2 are against, of course, and Daniel Boone, but then Harlan, Kentucky, and Signal Mountain. So you've got a team in the north and a team in the south. Is that kind of to expose your team to different kinds of styles of play, or just trying to get a game?
Well, it came down to just finding games, but we want to schedule good non-conference games. I like to travel. I like for our fans to travel. I like for our kids to travel and see different places. But those 2 programs are, some of the best in their area. Signal Mountains in the preseason top 5 in 4A, and got several college players on their team. They're certainly going to be laying low on the mountain, waiting on us to come down there. That'll be a tough challenge, and going to Harlan County, from what I understand, is never an easy place to go play. So we want to put our kids in tough atmospheres and long road trips, tough places to play to try to prepare for our playoffs.
Coach, your more successful teams have always been led by the guys up front. Do you feel more comfortable with that style of play? Does that make you more, suited to this time?
It makes me more comfortable. I like to run the football and be physical up front and be in control of the clock. Like I mentioned before, I know the people we have to beat down the road, and that's your chance to beat them. I'm more comfortable in that role, and I think it fits our football team, and that's what you have to do.
I think last year maybe relied on those outside guys a little too much, and maybe they came back and cost you there.
Well, I knew that when the season started. I knew when DJ Haney went down at Morristown West that it was going to hurt us because I want to bang the football, and he was our guy. We outrun everybody last year. This year, that's probably not going to be the case. We're going to play a different style, but not to say we don't have some speed, because this guy can run. Desmond can run. We got some speed, but I like to win up front. You have to win up front.
Is there a sense of relief knowing you've already picked Austin Peay going into the season?
Well, I love the school. I love the atmosphere up there. And yeah, it's somewhat a relief, but I'm sure I have other options. But I fell in love with that school whenever I went up there and visited, so I'm excited about it.
For both the players, you come into the season, never been beaten in the conference. I think it's safe to say from all these teams, they're still gunning for you to get that first loss. Is there a sense of pressure each game you go into a conference game not to have that first conference loss on you?
No, I don't have pressure.
You just want to go out there and do it.
Questions for Quan. He talked about you and Lincoln getting a lot of snaps at quarterback.
Let's talk about that spot. What's some things, Coach Ballard said both of you are going to play. What's something that each of you bring to the table that's going to be unique to help the Green Devils win?
Well, I'm more of an athletic type quarterback player. You know, I can hand it off, pull, you know, throw a little bit. You know, Lincoln, he's more of a sit in the pocket type guy. You can throw a deep ball, you know, pretty accurate guy.
Competing for that spot, is it a competition, or is it something you know that both of you guys can bring something different and you're okay with that?
Yeah, I feel like I'd be okay because both of us have something we can bring. And then if I'm not a quarterback, I'll, you know, go to receiver and get what it takes.
This question's for the coach. Knowing in East Tennessee, once you get to the Class 4A playoffs, Fulton's will be right there in the first couple of rounds. What does Greeneville have to do to get past Fulton and into that state championship?
Well, it won't be just Fulton this year. Elizabethton's got a Division I back. Sullivan South's got a Division I quarterback. So Upper East Tennessee and 4A's loaded again, you know. So Knox Catholic may be as good as Fulton this year. So, you know, we're certainly not just looking towards Knoxville. There's a ton of work to be done to even get there. But, you know, to be in East Tennessee and to try to put a team together to go through Knoxville with the population difference and the athletes that that you can pull from, it's hard to do, really hard to do, and you know, but we were able to get them 2 years in a row, and now they've gotten us 2 years in a row. But again, I like what we're doing as a team to try to build and put together a style that I feel like gives us our best chance to do that.
Talk about your running backs, coach, and I guess we line Quan up in the backfield or receiver. I assume you want to get the ball to him as much as you can if he's not playing.
Yeah, it's no secret to these guys sitting around that number 2 needs to touch the ball a lot. But there are others. Desmond Dabbs has looked tremendous in our first scrimmage Thursday night. Jalen Pruitt, Jalen plays outside linebacker for us, but he also plays running back for us. Donovan Barner, a rising sophomore, has been almost as good as those 2 guys. Mikael Anderson's not far behind, so there's a stable of running backs. We got to share the football, and Desmond's our number 1 right now, but there's certainly great competition at that spot, and as a coach, competition is your best friend.